Back on Brew for Blue, starting another week here on the Blue Room YouTube channel. I'm delighted to say Matt Cheetham joins me now. Good to actually see you, Max. We just speak on the phone all the time and via Skype, don't you? But not face to face certainly, or remotely anyway. So nice to see you.
Very much so. Though I'm very embarrassed to be rocking this kind of facial hair at the moment. I've just kind of let myself go a little bit with all this isolation and can't really do the full beard like yourself. So more of a kind of a little personal experiment going on here, but doesn't look that great when I'm seeing it right in front of me right now.
I don't know. It's a pretty impressive moustache. How long has that been going for?
Well, it's the same all over, so I just get it heavy here and then not much else. So.
Oh, it looks to me as though you've been like grooming it. Is it like you've just been going for the moustache?
It's gone freestyle. So you said brew. I'm one of those weird guys that doesn't do hot drinks, so it's actually I've got a water with you right now. It's a bit lame. I've run out of juice as well, so
that's fine. No problem at all. Well, when we had Ryan Reynolds on last week, he was obviously from Australia, and he was saying over there they consider brew to be a beer or something. So he was thinking it was going to be like a bit of a, have a bevy sort of session, but instead,
a little bit early.
A little bit early for us over here, but you've gone for the beard. You've not gone for the full shaven head, a la Andre Gomez.
I was close. I'd just be worried it wouldn't all grow back. It's a bit of a risk to take. It might still happen. Who knows? You?
Yeah. No, not for me, mate. No, it's far too much. Yeah, I think my head's deceptively big. That's why I grow my hair, so people don't realise how big it is. But no, but how are things going anyway? How are you getting on? Obviously, you're based down south. It was all a bit mad down there at the start. It sort of got a bit similar to the rest of the country as the weeks have gone on. But how are things for you?
Yeah, it's okay. We were just saying off camera, like you get to a Sunday evening and you kind of feel, you got through another week of this now. You've nailed one kind of little sense of achievement. Then Monday rolls around, you're like, oh man, I've got to do all this again now. Same little routine of, a little bit of work and then doing what you can to occupy yourself, really.
Yeah, I think that's where it's like I've really enjoyed doing these videos because it's sort of something I've done every morning during the lockdown. This is the third week we've been doing them now, and it does give you like a bit of a reference point to start the day off. And you're not sort of lying in bed till 10:30 just scrolling through Twitter on your phone, arguing with people about Andre Gomez or Jibril Sidibe on online. You sort of getting. I mean, have you given yourself those sorts of things to do? Have you put things in the diary state to try and reference your day around?
Yeah, I've tried to certainly start days with a bit of exercise if you can. I'm sure endless people are doing stuff in the flat, whatever, going for the odd run. Been lucky to still be able to be doing some work, which occupies at times. And then, it's almost that kind of like 4 till 7 kind of window where it's like work's kind of done and you've kind of, it's a bit too early to eat. What am I going to do? You kind of end up just like FaceTiming people and chatting, but it gets a bit bit repetitive after a while.
I think your meals become like a huge part of the day, don't they? It's like it's like have you ever seen The Sopranos before?
Bits of it, not fully.
I don't know if you've seen the episode where Vito is working on that. He's building. He's looking at his watch all day, and he's not looking at his actual watch because he's thinking, right, it must be 12 o'clock now. I'm going to treat myself by when it gets to 1, and then he looks at his watch, and it's like 9:45 in the morning. It's like, oh man. It's one of them where the day sort of drags. But you said you are still working. When we spoke last time before we did Stats Pack, you said you're sort of deviating away from the sort of stuff you'd usually do. How was your job sort of changed a little bit during the lockdown?
I came to Sky from a kind of football writing background, so I've thankfully been able to do a fair bit of that now, and just basically, if I'm proactive enough to kind of suggest articles or just help give some stats for some kind of articles, I can do a lot of that, which is far more enjoyable than effectively data entry, which is what a lot of the other stats guys are doing, which I don't want to be doing.
So what does that involve then? Just literally sitting at a computer and just punching numbers?
Yeah, Sky have a really, really detailed database that goes back to 1999, and it's just a good chance to make it go back further right now, which I'm trying to avoid at all costs. But some guys find that kind of thing fun. I much prefer to just be writing. I did a podcast the other day as well of Sky. Just things like that are much more enjoyable.
So do you know when like we see on Sky that sometimes they'll put like since our records began. I think it's like usually I don't know if it's Sky or Opta. It's 2004.
So yeah, Opta have a few things that change at different points. Like a lot of their advanced analytical stuff's only since about 2013 or 14, I think. All of their kind of shot data was about 2004, and then yeah, they've got things like goals, well, assists, and a few other bits and pieces from all-time Premier League. But yeah, that's a few different cutoffs for Opta. Sky, for actual just basic appearances and goals, you can go back to 2000 on our database. Before that, you can still do it. It just takes a little bit longer to work out, go through some archives and fun stuff like
that. so effectively what's happening now is everyone's sort of extending the back catalogue of the database, if you will, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Or trying to avoid doing that and do anything else.
So obviously now you said you're doing probably a bit more colour stuff, a bit more just general football writing, but people who haven't listened to our stats pack show that we do might not be completely aware about your role for Sky at the moment. So could you just, anyone who's been, everyone I imagine who's listening to this will have seen your numbers on Twitter and some of the figures you put out, which go viral, but you could just tell people what sort of role you do at Sky and what your job is.
Yes, I've been at Sky for 5 or 6 years now as a football statistician. There's 15 of us in the department, and on a typical week, you're working towards a live game that will be shown on Sky. And so you do maybe 3 days working on a stat pack, which you're kind of interacting with the producer for that show, seeing what he wants to show, seeing what players he wants to highlight. So a lot of that kind of dictates what you're putting like at the top of that kind of stat pack. Then towards the end of the week, you'll get together with a graphics operator and build anything the producer really wants to show for the game. And then, yeah, you end the week going to the game. Sounds a little less glamorous when you reveal you're actually in a truck in the car park. And yeah, have a little headset on, put stats on screen, and you're there to kind of just help with the show, really. Add a few little lines here and there.
So you're in those big buses they have, well, not buses, the little trucks they have outside the back of the park end and that sort of thing.
Yeah, there'll be one Sky Stato in there as along with a big production team. But
is that quite frustrating being so close to it all and not actually be? Because obviously you are there to work and it is your job to do that sort of stuff, but it must be frustrating not to be maybe in the stadium and seeing these things real life when it is just a stone's throw away.
So close yet so far, yeah. It's a bit. I mean, I'm kind of used to it now, and it does feel like work. I don't really like working on Everton games as a result of that. I mean, I could probably bring a lot to Everton games, but it's hard because you can't watch a game as close as you want. You have to kind of care more about what's happening with the numbers, more how to get the stat on screen that people are going to be talking about in pubs, things like that. So it's a different kind of way of seeing games.
I think that's it seems as though that'll be quite a tough transition, because I remember we spoke to Adam Jones about this quite recently, and obviously he was a massive Blue growing up, and he's sort of become a great journalist for the Echo, and he does really good pieces for the Echo about match reports, does the ratings, which he jokingly says he gets a lot of grief for and that sort of stuff. But I remember speaking to him on, I think it was our Diaries of an Old Lady show, where he sort of said how it was quite a challenge going from that transition from being a fan and following Everton as a fan and going to the game to sitting in the press box and not being able to react to teams, to the team scoring and, not be able to be fully emotionally invested in the game. So I imagine it's probably a similar thing to yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've only done one Everton game this season for Sky, which was the home defeat v City, which was quite a topsy-turvy game. And there were definitely points in that. I remember, you just have to kind of bottle it up, really. I mean, that must be similar to journalists. I remember as a kind of freelance football writer before Sky, I was a huge Tim Cahill fan. He was always my favourite Everton player by miles. And I think that kind of coincided with his decline a little bit when I was writing. I found that so hard to just have to write that kind of neutrally and how it was really when, the fan in me is just like, no, he's amazing. Let's just keep going with that story. But yeah, a lot of challenges in that kind of way when you've got to work around it, I guess.
I feel it's probably just a bit of a more natural process as you get older as well, isn't it? And, I've certainly found that, now I'm 30 and that sort of thing, you're not quite fully as invested. There are other things, you're a little bit more work focused. But Just on stats and numbers, sort of like from I've sort of semi known you for a while now because we used to work for the same website and that sort of thing. We've spoken on Twitter quite a lot. Has numbers always been something that's interested you about football? I mean, when was the first time you remember really getting into it?
Numbers has definitely always been my thing with football. It's just working out how to find a job with that. I was always kind of chasing a job in football. I got very lucky to get involved with Bleacher Report, as you said, as you are. It just kind of felt right as they were starting their kind of big wave, and I kind of clung to some coattails there for quite a while. And they were really good to me. They let me write a lot of kind of stat pieces.
Yeah.
I never really felt confident enough that would be my career. If you put a load of stats in the middle of the piece, I feel I can write around it, but I definitely don't have the ability to kind of write endless opinion pieces and be able to get these match reports out on the whistle. So I kind of use that essentially just kind of keep finding other avenues into football. I was looking at jobs with clubs. I did a couple of performance analysis courses. And as all that was happening, this job came up at Sky, which is so unique that I just applied for it, thought it was a good fit, and still there now. So
Yeah.
it's quite a random path.
Did you always sort of think that data and stats would become as big as it is in football now? Because I think if you go back to maybe 2012, I remember it's sort of something because I think when we all get into football journalism, we're all sort of trying to find our niche, aren't we? And trying to find, what's going to make us stand out. I remember I sort of delved down that myself. And at the time, it didn't feel as though there were many people writing about football statistics in such a detailed manner. I remember Bleacher, you were doing it, and Sam Tiger was doing it. You had zonal marking. And you had two or three others out there that were quite high profile, maybe 8 years ago, but it wasn't as widespread as it is now. Did you always sort of anticipate, and I know you're probably going to say no because you want to sound modest, but did you always sort of sense that this would become a huge part of football like it is now in the modern game?
It's a good question. I guess I always wanted to believe it would be. And yeah, I mean, since it's kind of social media became what it is, 2010, 2012, and websites like Who Scored suddenly became around. There's just all these social media accounts tweeting things. It just it's snowballed. And yeah, I mean, the fact that clubs now use so much of it as well, have their own teams that are only getting bigger, they're analysing things better than ever before. It just feels it's continually going in the right direction.
And did clubs before, obviously clubs have all got their own in-house scouting and data teams and that sort of thing now, certainly in the Premier League, but before that became the norm, were clubs coming to Sky and asking for figures and breakdowns of sort of things, or you're not allowed to say that?
Well, they haven't come to me. I'm still one of the guys that's been there the shortest amount of time. A lot of the guys I work with have been there kind of 15 years, so I maybe have to ask them to see what it was like before. From speaking to them, I think the job was quite different kind of 10, 15 years ago. A lot more kind of what was going on or what was number one the last time this happened kind of thing, whereas now you've got an absolute monster of data to play with.
Yeah, and it seems as though the way it's going, there are sort of data figures and packages for almost everything going in the game now. And the stuff like some of the stuff you say to me on our stats pack, so it does blow my head off a little bit in regards to offensive actions in the final third after 10 minutes or something like that. It can be that specific now. I mean, what do you think the future is for it? I mean, how detailed can it get into how detailed can data get and those sorts of models get before it's sort of, I'm trying to think of the right way of phrasing this, before it's not really, you're not really looking at the game of football as like an organic entity where things just happen occasionally. Do you think it can go much further in that, or do you think there's always a case for new data? I mean, one of the things you've always said for me is in regards to goalkeepers and the numbers around goalkeepers, is it maybe as high tech and as detailed as it could be in regards to outfield players?
Yes, another good question, tough question. I think it's getting towards where it's going to. There's always that difficult balance because you can't ever just do it solely by the numbers. You have to always kind of back it up by the eye. And no, that's always like one of the biggest kind of wrong angles on social media when you assume if there's numbers out there, you're only looking at by the numbers. Everyone at clubs is mixing it up. They're, have plenty of scouts that are just doing things by the eye and then using the numbers to kind of back it up. And I think you've always got to keep that balance. So if, data continues to get more and more forensic, as it probably will, you are still going to always have to back up a lot of it with your eyes.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll move away from data now, Matt. I'm sure you've got to know. You've got people might watching this on YouTube may not be able to quite see your shirt yet, but we were speaking before, and it's Sydney SC.
Yes.
So
No.
People who listen to the podcast, it's sort of like a light blue Manchester City colour. It's got a little bit of a triangular bib on the front of it. So think back to Everton's Lecoq Sportif one with the white one. It's a little bit similar to that, although it's dark blue. But the reason you've got it on is you say it's quite an interesting story.
Yeah, I was at the 2014 World Cup with a couple of friends, and I think that might be my happiest time as an Everton fan. We just finished the season with Roberto Martinez finishing 5th. It just felt like we were just kind of building something special. A lot of young players in that squad. And I went out there wearing I took like 10 Everton shirts to me. I was just like, I'm just going to wear an Everton shirt and shorts pretty much every day I'm here.
Dead proud to be a Blue for a change.
Well, honestly, one of the worst things about the trip, I mean, it was an amazing trip, was that the amount of people, worldwide fans, that would come up to me and be like, "Oh, a Chelsea?" I'm like, "No, like, how are you seeing this?" Like, and then it was just actually I think it was the last day or one of the last nights. I was wearing like a one with Jagielka on the back, and just got into chatting with this group of Australian guys, big Tim Cahill fan. So I was going off about that. He'd scored his amazing volley a few days before that, and we'd been at a bar, and I'd had a Cahill shirt on. That'd been a pretty awesome moment. But yeah, we just had a great night with these guys, and then towards the end of it, I gave him my Jagielka shirt. He gave me the Sydney shirt, and I haven't actually worn it since. So I thought I'd bring it out for this.
Is it one of them where you sort of regretted it after? Did you wake up in the morning like, "Oh, my Jag shirt's gone"? Or
I mean, I did like that shirt a lot, but I think the guys I was with actually were like, "Oh, he's had a bit to drink. He doesn't actually want to do this." But no, I was very happy with it. You know, it was a good moment, and I'm still in contact with the guy on social media. I think he's a journalist in Australia. So yeah, it was a good little meetup.
And is he a Blue now as well? Is he, or on the basis of that?
I think he's a Leeds fan, but he definitely had a lot of love for Tim Cahill, which I think was what bonded us initially.
Yeah. So obviously, think about that was the World Cup in Brazil. That must have been an incredible experience.
Yeah, and I just went there as a fan. There's 4 of us. We just kind of picked a city. We went to Salvador before the games had been announced, and just kind of gambled. And we got really lucky with the games that turned out to be there. We got France, Switzerland, which I think was like 5-2. We saw that the big Spain Netherlands game. It was 5-1. Yeah, 5-1.
Oh, with the Van Persie header.
Yes, and there was one Germany, Portugal as well. So we got lucked out some really good teams there, good games. And yeah, it was just such an amazing experience. I would like to actually go back to South America with less football fans around. Kind of, I don't think you saw much authentic South America down there, but it was an unbelievable experience. And the reason we kind of justified it was it 2014? So I was, let's say, mid to early 20s. We were just like, well, you know, we're not going to go to Russia. We're not going to go to Qatar. This could be the chance. So yeah, just went all in for it, and it was a really good trip.
Brilliant stuff. I do remember that summer just being so optimistic about Everton as well, because like you said, we'd had that season with Martinez, excuse me, Lukaku looked like he was going to sign as well. There's obviously stories about him moving it, coming to Everton. He eventually did join on a permanent deal. And I remember Martinez being, you wouldn't have seen any of this, but he was on the punditry. And he was just getting rave reviews about everything he was. I think he was at ESPN in America, was he? He was part of and you know, all the reports from over there were, "Oh my God, this fella knows his football," and the video clips getting shared over here and that sort of thing. And we all sort of sat there smugly rubbing our hands together, like, "Oh, yeah, he's ours, lads. He's just signed a 5-year contract, and we've got a mural of him on the side of the ground. Unlucky."
Yeah, the contract news came out while I was out there, and I think I was annoying the 3 friends I was with quite a lot by showing them those kind of clips. I racked up a painfully big phone bill by continually getting onto Twitter when I was over there, and there was a lot of clips of him doing that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Oh, shame it didn't work out. But Matt, I really enjoyed chatting to you. Thanks very much for coming on. We got another stats pack out last week, didn't we? Talk about midfielders, some Gylfi Sigurdsson numbers as well for everyone who follows Matt on Twitter and really enjoys them. Sorry, mate, go on.
I love Gylfi.
Next week we'll be doing forwards, won't we? And I imagine the stats beast will be Rom.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, probably will be, yeah. But no, I really appreciate that, mate. Thanks very much for coming on. Anybody who's watching these videos, do subscribe, do like, do share. It may seem not much, but it does help us get these videos out there. We've got a lot more guests to come this week. I'm going to be speaking to Lyndon Lloyd, Top Web owner and creator, Chris Mason, actor, Greg O'Keefe from The Athletic as well. So do stick with us here on the Blue Room YouTube channel. Everyone stay safe, and I will speak to you again soon.